Hello and welcome to another video from Midas Touch Toys, Games and Collectibles. And today we're looking at something that is now very old. It's quite collectible and it's fairly rare these days because of the age. We are looking at the 1974 release by Buckingham Games from their TV tie-in quiz games. And the game we're looking at today is the Celebrity Squares TV game, which was hosted by none other than comedian Bob Monkhouse. Now, the original television series or television quiz show, Celebrity Squares, was a British game show based on the American comedy game show Hollywood Squares. It ran, first of all, it first aired on ITV in July 75 through to July 79 when it was axed. And then during those 5 years it was on air, it was hosted by Bob Monkhouse. And then when it made its return in 1993, it ran for another 4 years, from Jan 93 to Jan 97, and it was also hosted by Bob Monkhouse. And then there was a very brief recovery of the show in 2014, where it ran really for just 8 months before it was axed again. And obviously this time Bob Monkhouse couldn't do it because he's no longer with us. It was hosted by none other than Warwick Davis, but unfortunately it was a flop and it didn't do very well, and so ultimately it was cancelled. But it was the original 1970s version of Celebrity Squares was probably the best. It was something new that none of us had seen before, and it was very comical related, and it was a quiz show, so you had to get the answers right, and the winner used to win prizes, although you wouldn't really consider them much prizes these days. Anyway, this is the box that it comes in, and at the top it says the Celebrity Squares TV game plays just like the ATV All-Star Show. And it says Bob and the Big Box Game with Bob Monkhouse. And there you can see the noughts and crosses on the characters at the side here. And it says 1974 Ideal Toy Corp, made in England under license by Buckingham Toys Limited, High Wycombe Bucks. And it's 1974 Heater Quidby Inc. A family game for 3 or more players, and you've got a Buckingham Toys logo just on the side there. Okay, that's the front of the box. Now, with all these games of the time, there was never anything printed on the back of the box. But let's have a look at what's printed on the sides. Okay, so the bottom of the box here, it's got, again, a family-friendly game, Buckingham Toys, and it says 3 or more players. You've got the Celebrity Squares name, plays just like the ATV All-Star Show, and TV game at the bottom, the Celebrity Squares TV game. If I turn that right round the other way to the top of the box, we've got pretty much the same again. Family game, Buckingham Toys, 3 or more players, the Celebrity Squares TV game, plays just like ATV All-Star Show. And if we turn it over to the side, yeah, it's all the same again. A family game, Buckingham Toys, 3 or more players, the Celebrity Squares TV game, and it's item number 2090-9, and I'm pretty certain it's going to be exactly the same at this end. Yes, it is. Family game, Buckingham Toys, 3 or more players, the Celebrity Squares TV game. There was a sticker on there which is peeled off, but it's item number 2090-9. Okay, that is the box. Let's open it up and let's see what we've got inside. Okay, so I've removed the items from the board, from the box rather, and I've put together the Celebrity Square board. I've just attached it to the stand as you do. We've also got our question cards. We've got the question card holder. We've got our noughts and crosses, which we put onto the board depending on whoever has answered the questions right. And we've got our Celebrity Squares correct answer sheet there. Now, on the back of the board, on the back of the box, I should say, the back of the lid of the box, if I just move that out of the way, is all the game instructions. So, what I'd like to do is, we're going to have a read of the game instructions. So, let's just position ourselves so we can have a read of the instructions, and then we know exactly how to play the game. So, it says, The Celebrity Squares, a game for 3 or more players. Plays just like the ATV All-Star Show. Instructions. Object. To be the overall winner by winning the last round after all the other players have been eliminated. To win one round, a player must win 2 out of 3 games. To win an individual game, a player must be the first to get his symbol either X's or zeros in 3 consecutive squares in any direction, which is vertical, horizontal or diagonal, just like in noughts and crosses. Or in lieu of getting 3 symbols in a row, by being the first player to get 5 of his symbols anywhere on the board. So, materials, the Celebrity Squares board, which we have, the board holding easels, which we have 2 of those, the plastic O's, we've got 5 of those, plastic X's, we've got 5 of those, the MC's card holder with slide selector, we've got 1 of those, and the deck of question cards, we also have those. Preparation, set the Celebrity Squares board in the 2 board holding easels, see diagram 1. So that's exactly what we've done at the top there. So choose an MC. The MC shuffles the question cards and places them on the table. He then turns the card holder face down and inserts the top card into it, see diagram 2. Be sure the slide selected diagram 3 is as far to the left as it will go. Okay, play. The players decide between themselves who will have the X's and who will have the O's. They also decide who will go first. Each Celebrity Square is numbered, moving horizontal from left to right. The top row is number 1, 2, 3, the middle row is 4, 5, 6, and the bottom row is 7, 8, 9. See diagram 1. Okay. The first player selects any number 1 to 9. The MC slides the question card up or down to reveal the number in the card holder, and card holder selected by the player. See diagram 3. Okay. So number 4, the MC slides the question card. Oh, no, we've done that. And 5, the MC moves the slide selector to the right and reads the question aloud to the player. See diagram 4. The MC then moves the slide selector further to the right and reads the celebrity's answer aloud to the player, prefacing the answer with the remark, the celebrity says, see diagram 4. Okay, yep, that makes sense. If a celebrity answers a question correctly, an A will appear at the end of the line. This means that the player should have agreed with the celebrity's answer. See diagram 4. Okay. If a celebrity answers a question incorrectly, a D will appear at the end of the line. This means that the player should have disagreed with the celebrity's answer. If a player says, I agree, and the MC reveals an A at the end of the line, the player gets the square. If a player says, I agree, and the MC reveals a D at the end of the line, the player's opponent gets the square. If a player says, I disagree, and the MC reveals a D at the end of the line, the player gets the square. If a player says, I disagree, and the MC reveals an A at the end of the line, the player's opponent gets the square. So in other words, if you get it wrong, if you agree and you should have disagreed, it goes to the opposite player and vice versa. So if you're wrong, the square goes to the opposite player. Okay, if a player wins the square, the MC puts the player's symbol in the square. See diagram 5. If a player loses the square, the MC puts his opponent's symbol in the square. This is true in all cases except where giving the square to a player's opponent would win the game for the opponent. A game must be won with a correct answer. So in a case where a player answers incorrectly and giving his opponent the square will win the game, the opponent must ask for a new card to be inserted in the card holder and correctly answer the identically numbered question to win. For example, if a player misses on square 7 and square 7 will win the game for his opponent, the opponent must ask for another card and answer correctly the square 7 answer on the new card to win the square and the game. Should he in turn answer the new question incorrectly, and if this error will cause him to lose again, no one scores. A third card must be inserted into the holder, and as many as are necessary until someone wins with a correct answer. Play an alternate in picking a square and agreeing or disagreeing with the celebrity's answer to the question. The MC should be sure to return the slide selector all the way to the left after each question. When a player wins 2 out of 3 games against a single opponent, he wins the round and the losing player is eliminated. The winning player then picks his next opponent from among those who have not yet played. The losing player becomes the MC player. A player must stay in the game choosing his challenges as long as he continues to win. But if he loses a round, he is eliminated and the new champion chooses his opponent from among those who have not previously played. The losing player of a given round always becomes the MC. Winning. A single game, be the first player to get those squares in a row, just as in noughts and crosses, in any direction, vertical, horizontal or diagonal, or in lieu of getting these squares in a row, be the first player to get 5 squares anywhere on the board. Okay, 2, a round. Be the first player to win 2 out of 3 games against a single opponent. And the game, be the first player to win the last round, 2 out of 3 games against a single opponent after all other players have been eliminated. So it's pretty straightforward. It's a question and answers game. So let's start. Let's put that board in front of us. Okay, so let's just zoom out a little bit so you can see exactly what I'm doing here. Because I'm learning this game as I'm learning it. I remember playing it when we were kids, but it was many, many years ago. So that's our deck of question cards. I'm just going to give them a quick shuffle. And I'm going to take the top one. And as it said, I'm going to insert that card into the back of the question. And that's all closed up, so you can't see what is on there. And those cards I'm just going to move over to one side. So let's say I select question 5, which is what is on here now. So I pull the question over. And it reads, what is a balalaka? And the celebrity answers a gypsy. Now, I've got absolutely no idea what a balalaka is, but if the celebrity says a gypsy, I'm going to say, okay, I agree, and I should have disagreed because it's not a gypsy. And if you really want to know what the answer is, this is card A20, card number A28. So A28, and it is question number 5. And so the answer is a musical instrument. There we go. I didn't know that, but now I do. So if I was noughts, I wouldn't get that square, but it would go to my opponent, who would be crosses, so that would go in the middle. Now, as the opponent, it's his turn. So if he selects, that must go back over. If he selects question 9, let's say, so he's going for the diagonal here. So the question would read, when did George the Sixth die? And the celebrity has said 1952. Yeah, I think that's about right, because that's when the Queen came to the throne. So I think that's pretty right. So I'm going to agree with that. And yep, and that's right. It is agree. Now, as I'm on crosses at the moment, so the cross would go in the bottom one there. So now the next player would have no option then but to go for question 1, because otherwise they're going to win. So question number 1 we would go to, and we would pull the question over, and it says, Moscow is the capital city of which country? And they say the USSR, and that's correct. It was the USSR, or it's Russia now, but back then it was the USS. So you will agree with that, and that is correct, as the A is agree, and you pop then your nought in there, and that's blocked your opponent from winning on the noughts and crosses. So your opponent's now got to decide to go a different route. So if I was playing noughts and crosses, my next route would be number 6, because that means that I could go to 4 and 3 to win. So number 6 is the question I'm selecting. And if I pull that over, the question is, who painted the Mona Lisa? And that says El Greco. Now, I know that's not right, so I will disagree with that because that is definitely not the answer. And D is correct, so that's disagreed. So the X goes in there. Now, as the player with the noughts now, you've got to stop the X player from winning. So you either go 3 or 4. So let's go for question 3, because then, I don't know, then you can go for 2 afterwards if you do get it right. So question 3 says, who was the male star of My Fair Lady? And the answer there is Rex Harrison, and that's correct. I know that was Rex Harrison who played in My Fair Lady. So let's pull that across, and the answer is A, yes, agree. So that's correct, and that's blocked the X's from winning that way. So now it's the X's turn. So they are going to select question 4. So let's pull that across, and it says, George Orwell wrote Animal Farm. Is that yes? I think he did. So I'm going to agree with that and say yes, he did write Animal Farm. Let's see if I'm correct. I am correct, yep. So that means that the X's have won the round. Oops, I've knocked that down. So let's pop that back in. So the X's have won the round because they've now got 3 in a row. So that card comes out and goes to the bottom of the pack, and we then go on to round 2. So that's basically how the game works. A great family game. I do vaguely remember playing it when we were kids. It was a long time ago, but I did have to go for the instructions again to jog my memory. But yeah, that was how we played it. Now, the million-dollar question is, how well did these games do back in the 1970s? Well, yeah, I mean, all board games were very big. All family type of games like this were very big back in the 1970s. 60s, 50s, 70s and 80s were all big because we didn't really have much else to occupy us. We only had, on the TV, there was only 3 channels, ITV, BBC One and BBC Two. There was no video streaming, no video games, no streaming, no internet, nothing like that. So for us to make our own fun was with games. And I remember as a family we used to have games night, and it was usually on a Saturday evening where the family would sit around the table and play games. We quite often have our cousins come over, my aunts and uncles and cousins come over, and we'd have a whole big family game night. So if there was, too many of us, we'd team up and work in pairs. Otherwise, if there wasn't that many of us, we'd play singly. But that was a big thing back in the 70s. It was huge for games. And any games that was released really sold very quickly. Any new game, they were all advertised on the television, and you would just go out and buy them, especially as it got towards Christmas. There was loads of board games being bought for all the family, and they went into the games cupboard, because pretty much everybody back in the 70s had a games cupboard, and all your games would go in there, and on your games nights, the games would come out, you decide what you're going to play, and you all get together and play the games. So they're very big. Board games were huge back then, and pretty much every family had a cupboard with board games in them. Okay, let's move forward 50 years to 2024, December 2024, almost 2025, where we are today. Do these board games come up very often on the platforms these days? Well, they do occasionally come up. Don't get me wrong. You do see them pop up from time to time. Then probably not as often as they used to. I think 10 years ago, I used to see a lot of games popping up on the platforms, but you don't see as many anymore. Not of the vintage games anyway. You do see more of the modern games than the vintage ones, because they do quite often re-release a lot of the games in different packaging and with modern materials. But the vintage games, you don't really see that many of them. I did have a quick look on the platforms, and I did see 3 or 4 of these games that have been put up for sale over the last 6 months or so, all in various different types of condition. Some were complete, some were missing pieces, some were missing the the question answers, some had broken legs on them. So again, as I always say, if you are thinking of buying one of these games on the platforms, just make sure you read the condition report of the actual item rather than just look at the stock photographs and read the stock description, because that may not be what you are going to get. So just be very careful when you do order on them. If you see the use button, click it and read what it says there, because that's most likely what you're going to order. Oh, or alternatively, you can come to us at Midas Touch Toys, Games, Collectibles, where we always show you exactly what you are going to receive. So, for instance, this particular board game, we do have 3 or 4 of these Celebrity Square games, and they're all in exactly the same condition, which is fantastic condition, with hardly any use. There is some discolouring on some of the on the edges of the board, which is due to the age, obviously, and the type of board that was used back in the day. And there is some age spots on the answer sheet there, and there's a sticky band mark on a few of the cards where it's had an elastic band around them, and the elastic band has disintegrated over the time. Otherwise, it's in fantastic condition. The box is also in fantastic condition, and you can't go wrong with this game because it will work perfectly for you. So, this particular game and the other 2 just like this are currently available to purchase on the Midas Touch website, which you can get to very simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight to the website where you'll be able to find this and many, many other vintage board and family games. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I'm absolutely positive that that is something you're not going to want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new items which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there's something in particular you're looking for, something old you've never been able to find, something quirky you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long lost childhood memories, well, stay tuned. Keep watching, because you never know, the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful, wonderful old game with me. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next video. So bye for now.